So, hey, I'm back. I have listed down a few things that I need to do. Uh, we can close other tabs and okay, so stuff that I need to do is I needed to make CP work with a single file without encryption and with encryption. Now I have marked it as done, but I still need to test the outflow, and I have implemented encryption already. So this is not really done because I have not created that uh, entire encryption flow that I promised in the earlier video, where the eight-phased encryption has to happen, eight-phased hashing has to happen, and then the encryption key will be derived. It's a very simple one. So this encryption system in its entirely is obviously not done. Uh, this I don't remember doing it. I'm taking the path as input. So I'll get to these later on. In this video, I want to explain a few things that I have done and the changes that I did. So in schema, I basically renamed SH256 sum to sum_auric, and I introduced another one which is SJ256 sum_encr. So this is for the original content and this is for the encrypted content, same with blobs. And the difference between these two is that the original and encrypted content of this table will contain the hash for the single blob that we are storing in the entry in the row, and for this table, the FS index table, it will be the original SHA256 sum of the entire file, and this will be the encrypted, SJ256 sum of the encrypted content of all the blobs. Now each blob in itself will also contain some extra stuff like the nonce and stuff like that. I think it is the nonce mostly that gets added. So if I go to CP and I guess you just encrypt. Where am I using in decrypt? Okay. I have written some portion of copy out. So encrypt is encrypt AES. It creates a new cipher, new GCM for this block and nonce size. I think this is 12, right? If I do this with, where did it go? TLS, AES, GCM, I guess this is the one. Random nonce, not sure. G dot nonce size, the new returns nonce size. Where am I calling new GCM? I don't know. Where is it? New GCM, FIPS only, otherwise new GCM. Standard nonce size is 12. Nice. So 12 extra bytes must be getting added here, and that nonce gets added to the final data. You will see the DST is set to the nonce bytes itself. So this is a standard way. I copied it from some site and checked it. That's how it was behaving. I don't have that program now. So anyways, let's go back to where I started from, the schema. So yeah, the encryption, this one, so far what I've decided is that it will be the value, the SHA's 256 sum of all the bytes, the encrypted bytes that I'm gonna store in content, end to end, like appended end to end, and then hashed is what will come here. This makes it much easier for me to maintain the uh, SJ256 sums of the encrypted content. I mean, if I have to remove the nonce and then redo something, it will be complicated. One, and second, it would not be easy enough, right? If you got this program, I mean, if you wanted to recreate this behavior outside of chamber, it would be much more difficult. I don't want to get all of that in the way of actually making some progress. I think that is good enough, because this SHA-256 sum is only here for checking the integrity, and not being used for any kind of other security related work. So this is good enough. Now that was one. There's another one that we have to do for directories. I am not going to get into that, but I have to check whether or not. Okay, there's one more that I need to add. But in this video, I'll just check whether or not I'm able to put in something into a chamber file. I will verify that it gets encrypted, and we will copy the out direction. I mean, we will verify the out direction. We'll see if it works or not, and if there are any fixes required, then we will do those. Okay, so the thing that I needed to add is we need to, for let's say, fix the SHA-256 hash calculation for the entire file while it is being copied in from the file system to the chamber file. So I need to do the hash calculations again. I need to verify that as well. So that's that. Let's go to CP, and I'll explain what I have done so far. So obviously I'm checking whether the DB state is open or not. If not, please get out. I am exiting from here. Checking if the from has the prefix or not, and again it should not have a leading slash, otherwise the where is the from gets at, I think there has to be a for loop. Where did it go? Forgetting where I had used it, or maybe I have not. Okay, FS index entry again, start chamber. I guess we had visited this. This is not proper still, but we are trying to check whether or not this path exists or not. Then we check whether it's blank or not, and it must not be, the inode must not be 0, because that is reserved for the root directory within chamber file. File is present. We are going to copy a single file, not a directory. So should we copy? No. File info, I'm getting the file info. If there is an error, get lost, get out of this function. If the file info is not a nil but it is a directory, we are not doing a directory copy yet. We will handle that later. If it is a blank file, sorry, no data, and this is the stat of 2, right? We are doing an OS stat. The chamber stat happened here, and if the file already exists and if it is not equal to nil, means it is not I mean, it already exists and there is some value in here. And if the target where we are going to copy, it is a directory, then, well, obviously we can't copy a file to a directory. And if it is of not a directory, which means it is a file, but it already has some content, then we are going to say, sorry, we don't want to overwrite. I mean, it is user's error. We don't want to overwrite a file that is already present on the file system. If should copy, and if everything was fine, we are setting should copy to true. This was set to false by default. We are saying okay, file info was found, and if we have not returned, then obviously we are okay with copying, so it's being set to true here. We can also do that here. Like I can remove this, change this a bit, and put should copy here, but fine. If should copy, then on disk in OS file we are trying to create the path. Okay, if creation failed, we could not open for writing, defer the function being for closing the on disk file. Sequence number, we are going to set it to 0. Okay, but it will be used. I mean, this is the sequence number that we are getting from the file blob. Now, what are we doing here? I'll have to explain this one. I haven't walked you guys through models either, but I guess another video would be fine for that. Or maybe I'll give a primer right now. This basically follows the typical project structure that I make when I'm working with any other Go project with a database. Anyways, let's go here. First, let's see the signature that it has. It is giving, obviously this is an ERR getting file blob, and we are testing whether it's nil. This is an error, and file blob is actually the entry, the struct representing an entry from this table, a row of this table. So it says get by inode and greater and sequence number greater than, and what it does is fs index entry that we created with doing the stat, right? We are going to take the inode and we are going to take the sequence number. Remember this? Now, in our case, the sequence number is 10,000, which is greater than 0. Look at the function name. It says get by inode and sequence greater than. What it is going to try to do is it will try to load an entry from file blobs table where the inode is this and sequence number is greater than whatever is right now, and we are updating the sequence number in the end. If everything goes well in this loop, then we are updating the sequence number here. Okay, so what happens in this loop is every time it runs, it tries to get the sequence that is after the current one. The current one gets updated here. We go here, we try to get the sequence greater than whatever we said the last time. So it will try to load all the files, sorry, all the blobs, the chunks into it will try to bring it all into memory sequentially and process. So this is the processing that is happening, right? Again, let's go through this. If there was an error, and check whether it was an error about no rows being present, and if sequence number is 0, which means that we have got nothing over here. Okay, there are no blobs for this file, that is not okay. We are going to report an error. But if it is a sequence number that is greater than 0 and we didn't find anything greater than that number the last time that we said, that means we have reached the end of list of file blobs for this file, those chunks. Maybe I should rename this to file chunks or something. I don't know, maybe I'll do that, right? And if there's some other error happened. It was not an SQL error, no rows error. Then we can return and report the error with whatever I have written here. This code and error when extracting data chunk number this, and for inode number whatever this was. Let us decrypt the file content. Again, goes to utils.decrypt, which I was trying to wonder. Sorry, which I was wondering about where I'm using it, which does inverse of what encrypt does here, more or less. This is basically a wrapper, small wrapper around check of whether the key is 16 or 32 or not. And I guess I can just get rid of it. I mean, I know the length will be 32, and instead of this, okay, we'll do that later. Maybe I'll do it not on a recording or a video. Let's get back. So it will decrypt. The decrypted content comes here on this file dot write this. Okay, remember we have not yet closed this. Okay, the file defer is the closing defer is basically outside of the loop. So when the loop ends and we get out, that file will close automatically. By then, we hope we will have written on the content. This is a blocking call, so yes, if we are here, then we would have. If error is not equal to nil, something went wrong, could not write file data and increment, right? So technically it should work, right? And let us try to get that done. Okay, let's go to encrypted chunks. This is what the file list was. Let's try with readme.md. Okay, this is from the last time, and let us say go run. Do I have a chamber file? Yes, I have a chamber file over here. Let's see if I have something in the fs index and file blobs. No, I don't. Let's go back to copy out, go run main.go, and we will say chamber file. So we are copying into chamber. Let's try to get movie.mov from chamber and place it here, right? So we say chamber : / movie.mov space, press enter, fingers crossed. Oops. Oh, sorry. You don't have it. This was let's first actually copy it. Chamber : / movie.mov. Okay, wrote chunk. Let's disconnect. This has slowed down. Okay, so it says success. Let's check. I know this is the third time I have tried, and it should have 88 chunks. So inode is 3 and ID is, I don't know how many are there, but there are 88 numbers, the counts. And sequence, I guess I should have some kind of a size over here, but I don't know, will that be useful? Not sure. Let's leave that alone for now. And the size of chamber file has increased to 2.81 GB as expected. Let's copy out. So go back up twice and press enter. Oh, what happened? Okay, target file contains data will not overwrite because I'm trying to overwrite the existing file. So yeah, that check works. Let's say movie2.mov. All right, let's press enter. I should probably print some messages. It just says success. Should be printing some messages, at least for the development phase. So we should be able to see movie.2.mov here. Yes, it looks like at least Mac is able to generate the content. I mean the preview. So let's go and check whether the sizes are the same. Get info, and 24 476 24 476 in the end. Yes, it does look like it worked, which means I don't have to test for the smaller one. I mean, the larger one worked. I shouldn't have to worry about this guy. Let me try. So if I am copying readme.md, for this I will say readme.md. All right, and press enter. Done. Let's check. FS index should have two entries for readme.md and mov.mov. Let's try to okay. Instead of movie2.mov, I'll say contents slash readme.md. This is in lowercase, should work. And this is readme.md, copy. Hopefully this will work. Okay, let's check this. Oh, again, I am an idiot. But why would it not try to write on this? This does not have the same capitalizations. What if I say readme2? It's a success. This is interesting. I mean, is it case insensitive? I don't know. Readme2 and readme seem to be okay, same content, both 153 bytes. Let's now try to, okay, let's go to this path now and check the larger ones. Okay, so cd to that path, and I will say sha256 sum of movie.mov. I don't know if it accepts more than one parameters or not. Let's see. movie2.mov. Let's check whether that works or not. Okay. Yes, it works, and it did provide me with the exact same hash. So I am able to put a large file into chamber, and I'm also able to get that file back from chamber file to my file system, and that is beautiful, lovely. I am happy. I don't know, did it do some, I don't know the behavior of SJ256 sum, whether or not it let me try that individually. Movie.mov, and let me try the second file, hash it. So yeah, it definitely worked, and this is also a valid syntax for SJ256 sum. I can give it two files. So holy smokes, it worked, man. Nice. It's working as expected. Now I guess I need to do something else from the list of tasks. This can surely be marked as completed. It is working with a single file without encryption and with encryption for something that has got the same chunks. I mean, that has got, I mean, a large file that got chunked, and I should test whether SHA256 sum. I'm quite positive this will work for the smaller case as well. So readme, what the hell? Why is it behaving like that? Readme.md and readme2.md. This is weird. Anyway, press enter, same hashes, it works for both the cases. So yes, I didn't exactly write anything new, I guess. No, I didn't. Okay, I created an rm.go because I thought like maybe I should have at least some internal function which I can call and delete something from within the fs index. But for that to happen, I have to get other things done. Basically, um, I need to be able to read the pragma directives, and this is to ensure that we open the DB with the expected settings. For example, by default, foreign keys are off. And for this file, if you go to the settings, now this I don't know how to set this in something else other than CLI maybe. I think in advanced you have a pragma value called foreign keys whose default is actually set to false. This I had to set to true. Otherwise what will happen is if I delete an entry from fs index, for example, just read me, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it, go to database settings, and go to advanced, go to foreign keys and set it to false and say apply and okay. Or I don't know if I'm allowed to set it to default or not. I mean, okay, reset to default, which is blank. Apply, okay, that is default. And now readme.md has got 4. If I go to file blobs and inode, let's, oops, what happened? Okay, 4. There is a file blob entry for inode 4. Now if I go to fs index and I delete this guy and say okay, this is submit, I submitted, I don't think this one will get deleted. Didn't get deleted, see, did not get deleted. Let me refresh it. No, still there. So I need to delete it by hand, and it makes no sense for us to have a file blob entry for a file that is not there in index. I mean, how will you know what this thing was? That's not how we designed it, right? So I'll have to delete it by hand. However, if you disconnect the connection, let's go back here, go to advanced and go to foreign keys and set it to, so you saw that the false is the default behavior, right? And I set to foreign keys to true and I apply and okay. And now what I'm going to do is go to fs index, select this guy, say delete it, submit, querying, this is gone, go to file blobs, this is empty. So you need to set this per connection. Now in case of a SQLite file, the connection is the file, it's not a remote connection, right? You have opened a file and kind of the connection details are held in the internal file descriptor that the driver holds, right? Which is why this setting exists in the data sources. Sorry, the properties of this data source in Golang. You can also go to schema.sql, and if you go at the top you see pragma foreign key on, and this you have to send every single time you make a connection. So once you have established a connection, you need to read the pragma directives, and we have to have certain rules and certain settings on which we will rely. We'll say okay, let's say if we are using the write ahead log, then we will eventually, when we are fine tuning everything, we will eventually rely on that behavior, that okay, wall will be there and so we can do these things and we cannot do these things. My performance would probably be better if I did something in one way rather than doing it the other way. So we need to have those rules, and for that we need to be able to read the pragma directives that are already set in the correct connection. And if they are not what they are supposed to be, then we should be able to set those pragma directives and read back and verify that yes, they were applied to the current connection. And this is important, right? Without those, it's going to be difficult. So there are so many things to do, and maybe I will do this later or maybe earlier. I don't know. I haven't really planned the next thing that I need to do or want to do. Maybe I'll work with the directories first. I'm not so sure. But this actually would be making more sense. So maybe I'll get with this. I guess that's good enough. We can say we worked on CPs. This is some good progress in in at least my perspective. Although I didn't do much. So yeah, all of this discussion I started because there is an rm.go here, right? I mean, if I go and say git status. Okay, there is one task.md where I added some tasks. There is services. This is a new file, contains nothing. Chunked read main.go. So yeah, I was trying a few things with chunked read and hashing and everything. The last time, the same things. Few of those have changed. I don't know where is it. Here, right? So I've tried this. I don't know if it will work. I'll try it again and see if it works. I mean, um, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I can run it now. Okay, I'll do it later, man. I'll do it later. It's been 9:15. I need to have my dinner. And no code tasks, idea, data sources because I reset and recreated this. Maybe that's why it has changed. Let's commit this gdcp verified the uh, copy out direction for a single file. I think that seals it, that we don't have to worry about that behavior for now. And you might have seen I've not written any single test file, and that is because I don't like writing unit tests per se, because um, whenever you're writing software, you're not, it's not your goal to test functions whether a particular function works or not. And my idea is to just write integration tests or regression tests. So you create a test suite that is completely outside of the entire uh, code base that you have. I mean, not exactly code base. You don't create every new test files for every single file over here. Right? Like that would be idiotic in my view. You should create maybe something for, let's say, if you say cp file blobs fs index handle main file. So if you want to check about main file, you can create one and run a few tests for few things here, or say stat, right? Stat chamber. You create one file, you a chamber file, and you run a couple of tests. Should be good. But doing this for every single function, for every single file, I mean, that doesn't make sense. What we should be aiming for is to test if all the edge cases are being covered for the program itself, which means that you can write an extra or a separate set of scripts or programs that will do it. You can write it as a Go test, but I don't like writing every single test for every single function. I would rather try to test the functionality overall. For example, if I go to services CP, should I be testing this function? Probably not. Let's say if I have created the functionality to recursively copy files, what I would want is to check whether or not I am able to put in data and take out data. What did I do just now? I put in some data and took out that data, and I checked for the SHA-256 sum. I mean, if this matches, that means the rest of the code base is working fine, right? Like this is the effect you want to achieve. So does it make sense for me to write everything, every use case as a test inside my code base? Probably not. I mean, this if I write a shell program or even a Go program that does this kind of work, that wouldn't be unit testing. That will more likely be an integration testing. I don't think I'll be able to explain all the differences because I myself sometimes get confused with what is regression, what is integration testing, and everything. So yeah, I mean, that is why I don't have all the typical test underscore test files in my project yet. But yeah, as we move forward, we will write some of those tests and we will verify that the program is working. For now, the manual method is working fine enough. I guess that concludes this video. In the next one, I will try to pick up something. Most probably, I will try to do the pragma directives. Let's see. Bye for now. Thank you if you watched it. Take care.